Hello again, people. Now, time for another episode of Zach's Anime Reviews, where I pretty much do whatever the hell I want, as long as I'm reviewing about an anime that I have recently watched, or kind of recently. Got behind, I'm catching up now. Anyway, before I start, I own the rights to none of this anime. There will probably be some cursing, and there will be some spoilers. Just letting you all know. Anyway, the anime I will be reviewing for this video will be Lord Marksman and Vanadis, or Madon no Autu Vanadis. This is a 13-episode anime that ran from October 4th, 2014 to December 27th, 2014. Time for the synopsis. Set in Western Europe during times of war, Ellen Ritalia, one of the Vanadis. Ellen Ritalia, one of the Vanadis of Zicht, leads the battle into Brune. There are, in fact, 7 Vanadis, each having received a powerful weapon from the Black Dragon to reign over one of the Zicht's 7 territories. The power of the Vanadis evokes dread and fear into their enemies. An earl in the service of the country of Brune, a young archer by the name of Tigre, experiences the Vanadis' power firsthand after being defeated in the battle by Ellen. However, Ellen chooses to spare his life after witnessing his skills. In exchange, he is asked to serve her. Now, since I've watched the show, that synopsis kind of seems a little freaking iffy. I mean, it doesn't really tell anything. Like, that synopsis tells nothing. So let me think. I mean, it kind of gets to the core root. Like, yeah, because like he's defeated, like the first episode, like before the story even began, there was a big battle between Zicht and Brune lost, and then after it begins, he gets captured by her. So that's pretty much how the show begins. I'm not entirely sure what the plot is myself either, because it kind of jumps. This show kind of jumps around. Because the first half of them kind of doing one thing, and the second half another. Like in the first half, they are trying to keep Tigre's land safe. Kind of like the first half of that. In the second half, they're doing something. They're doing an army like a rebel army against the kingdom of Brune or something, or against these 2 people. They're like high nobles in Brune. I'm not entirely sure what there is. I can't tell what the plot is. It jumps around. The only thing we can tell though is that there's shit going down. That's pretty much it. Anyway, Tigre, he's a good guy. I mean, you have to feel for him. He's just a kind of hard-working person. I mean, he uses bow, and he's an archer, even though he's an earl. That's just what his family does. And the people of Brune think bows are like for the wimps, so they're like, no. So he's kind of looked down upon for that, even though he's like a freaking badass. Because I mean, he's like the expert archer, the most expert archer you will ever find. Because he's like, I mean, here, see, he can probably shoot to get this range distance that everybody will understand. I don't know. I mean, but he's able to fire like continuous arrows at incredible distances and have them hit their marks. I mean, when he's able to slay, like, okay, so Ellen, when him and Ellen are going against in the first half when they're going to go save his earldom, they're kind of fighting a guy with a couple dragons. Well, the little main bad guy for that battle gets on one of the dragons and is flying away. So Ellen's Vanadis, her sword, her weapon, which is like a sword that can control wind, it allows, it likes him, and so it gives him some of the power to his bow, and he sit there, and the dragon's like way up there. He sits there and rips the dragon and the guy in half with one arrow. One arrow. That was kind of neat. That was kind of amazing. I mean, he pulled off incredible feats. Because then, like later on, it's like, oh, he goes and meets the goddess of death, and guess what? She gives him some of her power. It's like, oh, good. Well then, that's something. The strange thing about that, other than that, you would. It's hard to even see like what her power even does. Because like, here, I'm gonna give you some more power. Maybe you'll master it someday. It's kind of like. Then like for the rest of the show, it's like, okay, so wait, how exactly is that her power? I mean, there's a few instances where he shoots, like toward the end, where he's shooting out of the cavern system. He rolls like a freaking huge like crater, like a meteorite just came down. And this is like half a mile of rock or so between him and the surface. Quarter mile maybe. That's a lot of freaking rock. Solid rock. To blow it out with one arrow. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway. That is a lot of rock. I mean, seriously, he bores through like a gate at one point with one arrow, makes like a freaking perfectly circular, just passes right through this like meters long wooden gate as a fortress in an otherwise solid stone fortress. He's just like, okay, just think of all the Robin Hood legends and then multiply it by 100. That's how good he is. Now I'm kind of going on about his archery skills, but anyway. Yeah, this is a good one. This show is good. I mean, despite having lack of a plot, we had a lot of good battles. There was a lot of strategic victories. I mean, you could actually see them stuff that made sense. There's some kind of supernatural stuff here and there. It was like, okay, we got this. We're gonna use this to go do this. It wasn't like the supernatural stuff was the main deciding factor. It was more manpower and all that. The supernatural stuff was there, but it had to be used the right way in order to achieve victory. If that makes any sense. So it made that was actually good. It wasn't just like, oh, here we go, drop a death spell, everybody dies. There was none of that bullshit. It was more like, here, you have the power. It was kind of that thing. I don't know what to refer that to, but it was good. I like a plot. It was good. There were some good characters. It was funny. We had some very surprising character personalities. I'm hoping there's a second season, because even though they kind of finished, well, what there was kind of semi-plot that wasn't really there. They kind of finished that. It was kind of like leaving all this open. And like the last episode, or like one part towards the end, they kind of introduced this one girl. She kind of like I think she's one of these people that has a Vanadis. She has a sight thing, and she like rips open like thing of space and travel through it. She kind of shows up when Tigray's sleeping, and just kind of looks at him. Then she leaves, and then she shows up at the last episode and at the end, and she's kind of just talking to somebody else about doing something. It's like, so what the fuck is going on? And who are you? It's like this episode really. I'm assuming it's something. Like Today Was No Game, No Life. Which I hope is getting another fucking season, because it's better. But anyway, back to Lord Marksman. Yeah, it definitely, Marksman, it kind of finished up, but it kind of didn't. It can expand so much. I mean, we still got this power. He's still technically a prisoner of war, technically, which is kind of weird considering all that's going on, but it definitely could use more seasons. Well, it was good. I would give it like 8.5, maybe a 9. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking 8.5 because it was. I'm taking some of it off for like no clear plot line, and I don't know. Just some reason it's not like it wasn't one of my favorites. I mean, it was good, but it's not something I could really get into unless they were to make another season that was good. Then I could probably make it a 9. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode. So until next time, I shall see you later.